Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes.
Welcome back to the Tailosive Space Podcast. This is your friendly lobster, Nick, who definitely didn't get some sun. I'm joined with DJ, who was probably at the Boca Chica site this morning as it got exploded, as was I. That's why my face is red. How are you doing, DJ?
I am doing... Well, I'm sad. We lost someone today.
You're sad?
We lost
come
someone
on.
today.
This was probably one of the most fun days of all. Did you see that Apple announced WWDC 2021 is happening on June 7th?
Wrong podcast, Nick.
Oh, wait a minute. What? Oh, that was the news that happened at 8 a.m. this morning, though. Oh, was there
no.
other news that happened at exactly 8 a.m. this morning? What was that?
I think there was something about pancakes.
Pancakes? I thought it was about ships. Ships or pancakes? What could that be? Could it have been SN15's little oopsie?
You want to call that little? Yeah, go ahead.
It was an itsy bitsy teeny weeny rud / flight termination system. We don't know yet.
Man.
Wow. All right, let's walk through this. Obviously, the highlighting news event of today, and I should say, we almost recorded this yesterday. Thankfully, DJ was unavailable yesterday, meaning that we did not have an outdated episode. So we're recording on Tuesday, March 30th. My goodness. So we got some spicy, crispy, fresh off the press, very nice news for you. SpaceX, in their endeavor to reach Mars, has launched their fourth suborbital prototype vehicle, SN11, at a altitude of 10 kilometers. We had 2 engine issues. Likely something significant happened after a landing burn start. It may not have resulted in the loss of the vehicle and potentially the loss of, more importantly, some very nice cameras.
Yeah.
Did you watch this live, Mr. DJ?
I did. I had Tim's stream, of course, pulled up on my phone, and then, of course, when SpaceX went live, that immediately went to my iPad.
Yes,
and then
as one does.
It didn't last for that long.
No, it really didn't.
Actually, it seemed shorter in total already this time. It didn't seem like they hovered there for as long as they had. But yeah,
I thought that too. But I also was, kind of scrolling through social media. I know, I'm gonna admit it. I was watching the SpaceX stream and scrolling through social media at the same time. So, I wasn't completely invested in this, and I felt bad because there really wasn't much to see.
Yeah.
That was probably let's start there. So Elon last night said, "Hey, we're targeting a test of SN11 in about 8 hours. Okay, go bye." And everyone was like, "What? What? Oh, okay, cool. So that means like 8 a.m. All right, wonderful." So everyone was getting ready. We had Tim with the Everyday Astronaut crew trying to get all of their video set up. They have like one of the coolest video setups. Elon has recently allowed all of these streamer people to get closer to the action. And so Tim and Lab Padre and all of them have the video equipment set up. And so they were getting that all set up all last night. Everyone was getting ready. SpaceX engineers were probably pulling all-nighters, getting this ready to go. And we woke up to a very foggy morning.
You could literally cut the fog with a knife, make like a little porthole, and look about another inch forward, and then repeat, rinse and repeat.
Keep cutting it. Yep. There was so much fog that I thought it was a joke that they were going to try to launch in the morning.
I didn't figure they would be able to because I thought they would want to have eyes on Starship the entire time.
Right?
I kind of figured that would be in the FAA requirements for it, but
totally.
Guess not.
And maybe we'll get to that. Spoiler alert: SN11 didn't land. Maybe that's why it was terminated so quickly, because they couldn't see it. Once the telemetry was given weird numbers, they terminated, but that's speculation. So back to the launch. It lifted off perfectly, stellar liftoff, and it punched through the clouds. And that was probably the first time that we've seen a Starship punch through the clouds. And that was very pretty to see on the live cameras on the Starship itself. It was sunrise time, right around 8 a.m.
Yep.
So it's contrail or smoke or whatever exhaust plume. That's the
there we
rocket
go.
works. Exhaust plume. Its exhaust plume was lit up like really pretty orange, like sunrise orange, and that was kind of pretty to watch as it lofted up to its 10-kilometer altitude. Did its belly flop maneuver perfectly. There wasn't really anything else to mention though, right? And
I think somebody mentioned it looked like it had pitched over a little more than it had before. I think, I can't remember. It was early in the morning. Okay. But either way, that part went well.
Super well.
Then about 5 minutes and 49 seconds, I think it was, is when the engine started.
But it descended into the fog, right? Yeah. So we got the 2-kilometer call out, the 1-kilometer call out, and by about 1 kilometer, we're getting back into cloud territory where you couldn't see a horizon anymore. You couldn't really see anything going on. And then we switched to the internal skirt cam where we got to see the Raptors, and we got to see one Raptor light up, and then the SpaceX feed just froze for like legit 30 seconds. And I was just sitting there like, wow, this is the worst technical glitch I've ever seen. Like, I was thinking it was on the video production team's problem. Like, someone like screwed up in a major way. And I was like, oh man, someone's getting fired today. And I was sitting there like, come on, we're waiting. I was screaming at my phone like, we're waiting, come on. And then, what's his face? What's the dude's name? John someone or other?
Yeah, John.
The SpaceX guy. Anyway, he came on and he was like, yeah, so there's something significant happened after the landing burn start. We're going to evaluate the data and let the team, so we're going to end the stream here. Have a nice day, bye! And I was like, wait, what happened? Because we're still looking at the freeze frame of Starship. Right? And so at that point, I was like, uh-oh, something like really significant happened. Because the 30 seconds before that, I was on the edge of my chair. Like, did it land? Did it run? Is it standing? Did it topple over? Did the landing legs deploy? Did all the Raptors start? Oh, I was in such suspense. But yeah, then we got that news, and I got my tail over to Tim's stream, which I arguably should have been on already. But yeah, that was a sad day.
Yeah.
Sounds like Tim might have lost some very important equipment. It's standing, but it might be damaged.
Yeah.
So F in the chat for Tim's expensive video equipment.
This is my perspective on what happened. I had my phone right next to my iPad watching it. And as soon as that one froze, I turned my head over to start looking at his. And I just start seeing things fly down on his view for a few seconds and dirt splashing everywhere. And then freeze on his as well. I was like, oh God, poor Tim. They had spent like, he said they had spent like 2.5 hours setting that up at like 6 or something, or like 5 or 4 or something like that this morning. And then his face was just,
Did we just lose $20,000+ of video streaming equipment?
he had like 7 cameras or something like that there.
Yeah.
$4,000 worth of encoders, antennas.
With like 2 independent decoders. Yeah, and antennas like, and battery systems. Dude. That was a nice system. Hopefully it's still mostly there.
Yeah. So luckily, of course, we got some nice people with Lab Padre. They turned their camera over. It's still standing. Now, whether some stuff is working...
It's standing in the middle of a debris field, so...
Yeah.
Who knows?
But...
yeah, let's just say I was not expecting this.
No.
To be completely honest, DJ, I listened to the book report that I gave. I believe it's Fire... Oh, boy. Anyway, the Falcon 1 story, the story of Falcon 1 and how it took them 4 times to get to orbit. And this was the 4th orbital test. And I was like, in the back of my mind, always try 4 times. Maybe it'll be the 4th time. Symmetry. Come on, simulation. Get it right. We're going to have the fourth attempt at a landing burn with a Starship going to be successful? That would be so perfect. So in my mind, I was like, this is the one. Like, I knew pretty good chance that SN8 wasn't going to make it. I was kind of optimistic about 9. 10, I was kind of like, yeah, let's give it a couple more times. But 11, I was like, you have potential. You can do it. I know this is the time. Do it. But it wasn't. So, yeah.
Man, I mean, just
Sad
looking
days.
at this screen cap from Lab Padre's stream, it's just, you still see Tim's gear standing up, but then in the marshy, sandy, duney background, it's just like, it looks like a small picture of a piece of sand with metal confetti thrown everywhere.
Yes.
Because that's just
That's
like,
it.
it's everywhere.
It's so sad. Oh my gosh.
Man.
I think that this is going to change the way that the Boca Chica community watches this and like kind of participates in this. Like,
Yeah.
we like legit almost lost equipment here. Like, okay, no lives were risked at all. Like, let's put that from the outset. Like, nobody's lives were risked. There's no one on the rocket. There was no one anywhere near the pad. There was no one near any of the potential debris fall zones. Like, this is safe for humans to watch. But it's not safe for the equipment that we put right up next to the pads there.
150 meters away is still fairly close whenever there's an explosion.
Just puts into context, I believe the last few frames of Tim's stream had huge panels flying at and kicking up a bunch of dirt. And you really do lose scale for how huge these explosions are, right? Like, that piece of metal that was flying was probably like 1 or 2 tons of stainless steel.
It's the size of a car. A large car.
Yeah. A large car hitting the ground at like 60 miles an hour or thereabouts. Just so much energy, exploding dirt like a little meteorite impact. Like, just so much energy is happening here. And it's pretty scary, honestly. Like, I have more respect for the whole process now. Like, sometimes you can kind of be like, oh, why do they have to get everyone 5 miles away? Come on, wouldn't it be kind of fun to, watch this thing burn? But no, after this, it's like, yeah, y'all better, like, keep your distance. Yeah. Social distance from the exploding rocket, please.
The crash,
Not fun times.
The landing crashes looked cool, and we're like, hey, awesome. Either way, it's cool. Whenever it starts raining metal shrapnel, that's when you get out of the way. That's when things get serious.
And I think there was something to today. Like, we couldn't see anything because of the fog that you could cut with a knife. So a lot of times when it ruds, or the past 3 times, it's always been like, oh, but we got a fun show and there's another one coming out in a couple days. But this time we didn't get the fun show, so we're just kind of like, aw. I think there's another one coming out in a couple days. Yeah, and the aftermath is horrific. So let's speculate a little bit. I'm sure Scott Manley's going to drop. He's probably recording his video now of exactly what happened, and he's going to hit the nail on the tee and go frame by frame by everything. But let's speculate a little bit. What do you think went wrong here?
Was engine number 2 the one that they replaced? Because they did a quick replace of an engine. Do you remember if it was engine number 2?
I don't remember which one it was.
Okay,
but they did replace one.
My guess is it could be something wrong with either one of the engines that was already static fired, or the one that was brought in to replace it. Of course, that's counting all 3 engines, so it doesn't matter what my speculation on that part means. But something either went wrong between the static fire and the initial fire and caused something major, or the second static fire.
Really?
Yes, really. But I don't know, other than maybe the engine just completely blowing itself up whenever it started up, what would cause the FTS just to immediately go off. Because if it was a tank issue, you would think it would probably be enough for one engine to keep going, and then they would just slam down on its side. But this was like full on no control.
So I don't pretend to be an expert in this arena, but I am fairly certain that with other rockets, uncrewed rockets, there's a wire running down the length of the rocket, I guess, and if that wire is broken, it triggers the FTS system, the flight termination system.
I didn't think about that.
Because that would assume that the vehicle is breaking up, and you want it to be complete breakup, which is why you'd want to engage the flight termination system. If it's, a partial breakup, and say like you're flying, an unmanned Soyuz or something, and like one of your side boosters, what do they call those things? Anyway, if like something blows up, but it's like still kind of halfway working, like it's still like kind of halfway working, it can get out of control. They can lose the command ability to engage the flight termination system. It can turn towards populated areas. There's a lot of unknowns. So whenever a spacecraft is falling apart, they do engage the flight termination system, especially if unmanned. I'm not sure how it works with manned craft. Obviously, the emergency escape system would have to engage, but I would imagine if the flight termination system was engaged, it was not a manual engagement.
Oh yeah, no, it had to be immediately.
I don't think anyone could see anything today. I think that was probably the fundamental problem of today's launch. It was too foggy to launch rockets. Like, I'm sorry if it's not windy, whatever. Great. I'm glad you thought it was within the weather engagements, Elon. But like, no.
Yeah, I think going forward, they're not going to launch in foggy while they're testing. Unless they've got everything down pat normally now, and they're going for orbital testing at this point. But yeah, especially seeing how critical landings and takeoffs are at this stage in development. Like, I can see it with the Falcon 9. Like, they're pretty comfortable. They know how stuff works. You don't really need to see stuff, but especially with the 4th engineering pathfinding test vehicle, you want to be able to gather as much data about that flight as possible. A lot of that is telemetry. A lot of that is sensors on the vehicle. But another aspect of that is the data collected visually, just watching the vehicle explode. Yeah. Picture's worth 1,000 words. I'd say a video, a Tim Dodd 4K 120 frames a second video is worth, I don't know, 1 million lines of telemetry. I don't know. But it's definitely worth something to be able to see the rocket as it has issues. Because then you can easily identify, what was that SN9 that we got to see the belly flop maneuver didn't work on the on one of the engines, was disintegrating, and it's like, okay, that was likely the issue here. I'm not sure if telemetry would tell the full story, because as soon as it starts disintegrating, your ability to collect that telemetry is extremely lessened, I guess, right? Like, some things might still get recorded and transmitted. Other things might, have wires severed or sensors inoperable or parts explode or whatever. So I would strongly recommend going forward, because now hindsight is 2020. I probably wouldn't have said this yesterday, but because rocket launches never have any problems. But now, with the wiseness that I contain in my mind, I will say, SpaceX, do not launch during fog, because we want to be able to see the big boom and know exactly what happened right now, and not have to wait for Elon to tell us on Twitter, because we're still waiting. And not possibly lose $20,000 worth of cameras without catching anything.
That was the risk that they signed up for. It is sad, but I think that they knew the risks, right? But like, I don't think anyone knew the gravity of the risks. Like okay, yeah, it might totally explode and whatever, but like, it's not going to happen, right? That never happens. And then like, no, now that happened. And
we got used to the big booms that we've seen on the ground. And I just don't think anybody imagined the big boom in the air, just throwing everything for possibly miles in directions, depending on how big that boom was. But
well, it's definitely a good thing that they didn't have SN11 try to land near the pad. Like, I'm glad they don't have the landing pad like right next to the launch pad, because what do we have rolling out here in the next couple days?
So it looks
See that transition? I'm so good at transitions.
Nice.
Yay.
It looks like SN15 is going to be rolling out sometime soon. So with all the changes that already are on SN15, Elon said there's like roughly 250 some odd changes. And with what they find out from this one, if they need to do some more changes, if those changes didn't cover it. It looks like they'll be doing those on the pad if it gets rolled out before they find out all the telemetry and data from this one. But hey, we got
still have to
probably
do static fire and pressure tests.
yeah,
right?
they've got to go through the static fire and pressure tests, that whole run through. So we've probably got about 2 to 3 weeks at this point before we see another launch. But yeah, so one blows up, add another to the graveyard. Let's bring another in.
I'm excited about the cadence, right? Like, could you imagine if during the SLS second green run we had a similar explosion? Like, it would probably, the SLS program would never recover from that.
It would
but
probably
like, because SpaceX, because SpaceX has such a high cadence, they're pumping these starships out about once a month, and so it's like, okay, we lost one, move on, keep moving forward. And what's the Meet the Robinsons? Keep moving forward. It's like, yep, that's Elon's principle. Just keep on moving on, and it'll all work itself out eventually. They'll figure out a lot of little quirks and little issues, and hopefully with SN15, the problem that caused SN11's RUD/FTS was already resolved. That's definitely a possibility with all of these new changes. These changes are pretty big. Do you have a good idea of what the changes on SN15 actually are, DJ?
I haven't seen like a concrete thing of where he's actually talking about the changes. But for one, I would assume a different type of landing leg. Obviously. Yeah. Probably some improvements with the autogenous pressurization, because I think they're going back to that with SN15. Probably new way they did welds. I think this is this the first full let's see, what is it, like 3/4 or whatever, or I don't know how many millimeters thick this is, but it's the one that's 3/4 of the thickness as like SN8 and SN9. I think this one's the full version of that. And I'm not really sure what else. I would assume maybe some plumbing possibly different things like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right with the autogenous pressurization system. I think that honestly, this could have been caused by a helium problem again, depending on what the telemetry shows, because it wasn't that far off the ground when the FTS was involved and engaged. If it was that, it could have also just been a RUD. Like, there are definitely two potentials there. Yeah, so I don't really know why exactly we're subjected to this pain of watching our favorite starships explode.
Oh, I just remembered something. Continue on that, but I'm going to find something that, if they didn't cut it out in today's video, is a little interesting shot we haven't seen so far in all this.
Ooh. Yeah, so there is definitely a lot of improvements on SN15. And not only are we getting SN15, but we're supposed to be getting BN1 coming pretty soon, right?
Well, BN1 is basically just going to be scrapped. It's only a engineering pathfinder for the construction at this point.
Have they moved it at all?
No, it's still in the high bay.
Okay.
So I just sent you the SpaceX clip to start at the specific time.
Oh, I got it. Interesting.
So what do we see there?
Let's let that load.
Once you get it pulled up.
6. Oh, yeah. We got a really great shot of the LOX tank, right?
Yes. So, I mean, we've seen in Falcon 9, we've seen the actual LOX tank inside of that with the COPV, the composite overwrap pressure vessel. And it looks small compared to this. And it looks more totally refined by far, because this has just got slosh ribs,
little ribs
placed in there, and then of course you can see the pipe, which I guess is the header tank pipe coming down just right on the inside right there. So
that's a really cool view. You're right. You don't get to see that very often.
So I just wanted to bring that up before I forgot about it again.
Yeah, thanks. I do remember seeing that, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Also, I want to see the outside because the outside's pretty too. But yeah, now that we're kind of taking a step back and looking at it, you're right. They do have baffles in there to stop the sloshing on the edges, which is very important. And it's pretty interesting, you know?
Yeah.
It looks about like the inside of a grain silo, to be completely honest.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's almost like that's what we all thought it was for a long time.
But you know what? We'll have a bigger version of these. BN2. There we go.
SLS. Sorry.
Back to what we were talking about.
Gotta throw a little bit of shade there. Yeah. So BN1 is the engineering pathfinder. It is pretty much run its course, right? Like they have it, and they're running tests or whatever they want to do, figuring out how to make these things. They're all just making it up on the fly, right? That's what I love about SpaceX. SLS is very like, okay, so we've thought about exactly how to do this for about 10 years now. We are going to try to assemble them and see if it works. And SpaceX is just like, oh no, we're just gonna throw this together. Maybe that works. Maybe this works. And because of that, they have all these pathfinders that they honestly didn't know how to make a booster, so they made one just to practice. So how cool of them just to practice with one. So BN2 though, what is the deal with BN2?
So according to Elon, with Elon time, he is wanting to have this built and rolled out to the orbital launch pad by the end of April. And check your calendar with me again. It is March 30th, not April 1st, right?
Tomorrow,
So if he's going to build a whole entire Super Heavy in a month, dude, what? and also on top of that, he's like, if we're lucky, it could be orbit capable. I'm like, for one, you gotta build the whole thing. 2, how many engines is it gonna take for it to be orbit capable? 3, where are these engines gonna come from? Are you building that many new Raptors?
Exactly. So Elon has made 2 comments about this. One of them is this: the orbital class is gonna be coming up shortly, and everyone's like, "Wait, do we have enough Raptors?" Because I thought that like our big production hurdle here was Raptor production. But then also Elon said, I believe that one of the issues that they've caught recently with the Raptor will be fixed at mass scale. That was a term that he said specifically in a tweet. I don't remember what the context was, but Raptor issues will be fixed with scale. And so I'm like, maybe they're like, bear with me, maybe up until now they've been pretty much hand making Raptors and learning how to make the Model 3 assembly line version of Raptors. And maybe, I have no evidence to support this, but maybe they have figured out how all of Raptor production should work in an efficient and lean manner, and they are now ready to flip the switch on a big factory line to make these Raptors, because I think that's the only way you can get like 30 Raptors made in a month, would pretty much be to make one a day. So that's like crazy.
Okay, so let's be realistic. This is probably going to happen by mid-May. By the time it rolls out. No, probably
like June. I'm like June. Early June is where I'm at.
I would at least say rolling out by mid-May, because I think they can build it in a month and a half. Now, installing all the Raptors and stuff like that, no, I don't think so.
Okay, yeah.
But, because I think they're going to have to install the Raptors on the pad, because they're already having to modify their rolling, their rollers, their movers, to be able to hold BN2.
The BN2 is like twice as tall as a Starship.
I mean,
almost.
What are they gonna do? Have those moving, and then have the crane rolling right behind it with holding it up in the center? It's like, all right, let's go.
Too. Everyone go exactly 4 miles an hour, no faster, no slower.
Man,
oh my gosh,
dude, I cannot wait to see the footage of that thing rolling by people.
Oh yeah.
One brisk breeze can knock that thing over, it seems like.
But it looks that way, but at scale, it's really not. Like, these things are so huge, they're really not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully nowhere but up and possibly kaboom, but they're not going to be blown around, I don't think.
Yeah. But man.
Oh man, lots of SpaceX news today. There's another big piece in Boca. Did you see that Elon is as generous Elon tends to do, giving away another buttload of money?
I did. And of course, for everybody watching or listening, we kind of just hopped on this version of the podcast. We started talking beforehand to get the doc ready, and it was just like, you know what? Nah, let's just go ahead and go.
Well, the reason why I said we should just go ahead and go is because we were like nerding out about SN11, and I was like, this is good conversation here. Like, this would make a good show. Let's just forget the pre-show stuff, do this on the cuff of our pants, and we'll I think we had a little bit of a more interesting conversation around SN11 because it was the first time we had it. We weren't redoing it, but yeah.
But
So Elon, Elon, generous Elon, right? Elon is giving away $30 million, which is kind of a crazy amount of money because, you know, really, 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 really rich people are like only have net worths of $30 million. Like, that's a lot of money. And then the people who he's giving it to is not just a person, which is good. And it's also not just a business or anything like that. He's actually giving $20 million to Cameron County schools.
Yeah.
And he's giving $10 million to the city of Brownsville for downtown revitalization. And if you think about this, this is a really interesting investment by Elon. Elon has tons of money, right? And one of the problems when you have a lot of money, I say problems because, you know, money does ease many issues that people without money have, but it also adds other issues, such as finding good causes to donate money to. This is like a legitimate like problem that wealthy people have because you can't just give your money to anyone who asks for it, as many people on Twitter seem to forget. But you have to find charities who are reputable, going to do what they say, support a good cause. They're not going to, you know, go walk off with the money or go spend it on some luxury jet or something. Like, you want your money to be focused and impactful on something that means a lot to you. Yeah. And so what means the most to Elon?
Kids learning about space, apparently.
Yeah, getting to Mars. That is what matters most to Elon. People inside of SpaceX say every single decision that Elon makes is viewed through the prism. I've been talking for 4 hours now today. Every single decision that Elon makes is viewed through the prism of, will this get us to Mars sooner or later? That's the only decision he makes. And so when you look at this investment in Cameron County schools and the city of Brownsville, it kind of doesn't make a lot of sense through that prism at first. Like, it's like, well, that's like, wouldn't it be better for him to, you know, give $20 million to his own company to make it go even faster, right? Like, wouldn't that make it go even faster? But no, this is a really smart donation by Elon, because if he invests $20 million, and lots of school districts operate on budgets of less than $1 million, and I'm sure Cameron County is not
Cameron
that
County's,
big.
Cameron County's website, and there's 4 schools in their district.
Okay.
It's 2 elementary schools, a junior high, and their high school. So if everything was spread out completely evenly, that's still $5 million per school of extra money.
That's awesome.
And I doubt it will actually be spent evenly across the schools, because I have a feeling it'll be spent more in the junior high and high schools. So imagine
and probably mostly in STEM stuff.
Yeah, so imagine like $10 million go into this high school, and then trickle down for the rest of the other 3 schools.
Yeah.
Man.
So this works on like 2 levels. One level, it gets kids. I'm sure this is going to go to STEM stuff. You know, I don't think the school board would, you know, let's just say I don't think the school board would spend a large portion of this money on, you know, new kitchen equipment for their kitchen. Like, maybe they need that, so maybe that's what they need to spend on. But the point of this money is likely to spark interest in STEM studies too, right? Like, they'll probably get more STEM classes, hire more STEM teachers, maybe build a whole new wing, whatever. Like, they have tons of money to do this now. They have the power to. And Cameron County isn't exactly like the flashiest county out there, right? Like, it's a very rural, very isolated Texas community. And so this money means a whole lot to that community, because they have a budget that they've never had probably before. I'm not an expert on Cameron County School District, so maybe I'm wrong about that. But that is a significant amount of money, and so it works on the level of getting kids interested in STEM subjects, but it also gets people down to Boca Chica. One of the biggest problems that Elon has said that he's had is getting current employees who live in Southern California, Hawthorne, California, right outside of LA, beautiful area, beautiful weather, nice big city life, getting those employees to want to move to the middle of nowhere, Texas, which, let's be honest, that's kind of what Brownsville area is. I mean, it's practically it's North Mexico, so it's not a happening city, so this really is a perfect investment because it's also working on the second level of giving good schools to the parents who are likely deciding where they want to move to. If Elon says, hey, you can move to Boca Chica and we'll give you a 10% raise. And oh, by the way, the school district is really, really, really good because now they have had the funds to invest and become a really good school district. I think that's a really big incentivizer for parents. And then if you look at the other donation of $10 million to the city of Brownsville, that's going to enable Brownsville to make downtown like a happening place. Like, that's another problem that's facing Brownsville. Like, some engineers have families, right? And that's the most important thing to them. But some other engineers are 20-somethings who are not married and want to go have a fun time. And Brownsville is not known as the party capital of the world. So hopefully this $10 million can be spent wisely and in a way that will help attract SpaceX engineers down to Boca. And not just SpaceX engineers, but everyone, press, the industry needed to support Starbase is going to have to come from Brownsville. And so this downtown revitalization is really, really smart. So whoever's helping Elon come up with charity ideas, or maybe this is Elon himself, this is an extremely good use of money. It works on multiple levels, promoting something that is the most important thing to Elon, getting people to Mars. And at the end of the day, this is a significant amount of money that at the very least will help a lot of kids, which is never a bad thing.
If I found the proper budget list for Cameron County, it looks like their entire school district budget is less than the $20 million he's giving them.
Wow.
It's
a year and extra of budget for them.
Again, if I found the correct one, which it looks like it is, that is still ridiculous when you view this. So
that is so Elon.
Man. But now what do you think they're going to do with the $10 million for just the Brownsville area?
He said downtown revitalization, right? And I looked at a Google Street Map of downtown Brownsville. There's some pretty cool shops and like a little like downtown like mall, like Main Street kind of a thing. I don't know specifically what Brownsville is lacking because I've never been there and I've never really talked to anyone who's been there. But it kind of looks like a sleepy Texas town. It's and I'm not saying that Elon wants to convert it to, the Berlin Gigafactory rave party with laser lights, which would be cool. But it could probably use, maybe I guess I don't really know how a city would spend the money, but I'm imagining like maybe a Target or like some like big stores, right? Because like, I'm not super familiar with Brownsville, but there has to be some stores that they don't have, and I think that's one of the bigger things that people miss when they move out of a city is having access to like an Apple store or a Best Buy or whatever, nice and convenient. And I'm not sure how Brownsville could spend money to encourage that type of business to move in, but definitely $10 million is going to go a long ways in promoting growth in that city. And if Starbase is going to become as big as we all think it is, Brownsville is going to like quadruple, quintuple, sextuple in size. And the city needs to be ready for that. And that's a lot of times when you're trying to expand and grow, you have the vision and you're going to end up there one day, but the problem is you don't have startup money or you don't have like funds and liquidity to start working on those projects so that they're ready for that scale, which is when you always run into, stores not being built or, the city grows too fast and they need to tear down some old buildings to put in new ones because they had to move a freeway or whatever. Like, there's all of this planning stuff that comes with growth that will really be fixed by $10 million. And at the end of the day, to a decent sized city budget, $10 million is not like it's probably like 3 to 6 months of tax revenue.
Yeah.
I'm completely estimating, but it's not as big of a deal as the school donation, but it will make a substantial impact, especially if he's earmarked it specifically for downtown revitalization. So it's really smart by Elon. Great investment.
And it's not only is that like just good in general, but it's good press on him. I mean, people always hate on him, but they never show the good stuff like this. So it's just more
It doesn't get clicks.
Yeah, it doesn't get clicks, yeah, but it's people can't say he's like one of the stingy billionaires that hoards all of his money in gold bullion and keeps it locked up in a safe in the house. But
he literally doesn't own a house.
Exactly. Oh man,
he literally lives in conference rooms and airplanes.
Like this man is gonna have to sell a bunch of stock just to get this money to do this. Either that or it's coming out of one of his companies, just straight up.
Yeah,
so,
which I wouldn't be surprised either.
Yeah,
because Elon is basically Tesla and space. Elon is SpaceX and the public head of a public company over at Tesla. Yeah. So, yeah, exciting stuff. Like honestly, it's that this announcement has kind of been like, okay, if I'm going to move somewhere, I think it might be Brownsville area, because like this type of investment is like, have you ever been surfing?
Not surfing. I've done bodyboarding enough that I kind of get the grasp.
So yeah, you know how you can kind of feel the energy of a wave before the wave like really is visible, because you can feel the water like moving.
Yeah.
This is what this donation feels like. It feels like a huge wave, might I say tsunami, of innovation and growth is going to come here. And I can feel that. I can feel that movement start to happen here with this literal putting money where his mouth is into Brownsville school districts and into the city itself. Not to mention, he's trying to rename the city to be like Starbase, which like, come on, who doesn't want to live on?
Not gonna say it's a bribe, but I wonder if that $10 million is a little. Come on now, you can help me out, right?
Yeah, just Starbase, just it's easy. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I don't know that to be a fact, but it would make sense. But I for one would love to have my address, 123 Starbase Way, Starbase, Texas. Yeah. Like, who wouldn't want to live there? I see Starbase / Brownsville, Cameron County area is really the new space hub of the U.S. Yeah. I mean, if Starship continues, which I have no reason to believe it won't, because at this point, SpaceX is past critical mass. It's going somewhere, hopefully to Mars. We have enough Starlink missions. Do we have a Starlink mission this week? We didn't look that up.
I think there's one in 1 week. So probably cool. Wednesday. Next Wednesday
just
for us.
In time
possibly
for us to,
Wednesday for
just
you watching.
Just enough for us to record a show and have it be outdated. Thanks, SpaceX. Appreciate it. Yeah, so I think SpaceX is gonna make the Brownsville area what the Space Coast is in Florida, and
more accessible too.
I love the Space Coast.
More accessible to the Space Coast. So
yeah, and since it's all privately run, she's already talked about having some hospitality stuff, and I'm sure they're gonna do tours at some point. Like there's,
because they got the version 1 flaps turned into that little food stand. They're gonna have that bar on top of the high bay. Those two alone. What else is he gonna put out there with just crazy ideas? Like, you know what? We're building this. Yeah. Let's add something on top of it just for fun.
Here, sleep in an old Starship. We just turn the inside tanks into sleeping arrangements.
You know what? Let's just make a really really strong bunker, and you can watch the launch and landing from right here.
That'd be so cool. I'd be all for that. Just feel the vibrations.
I would go for that. you get a 50-50 chance of living. Stick me in there. I'm going for it.
I don't know. After today, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, these 50-50 chances are like real. Let's 2 steps back for safety. Yay!
Oh man.
So speaking about wanting to do things like visit the bunker at Starbase, I really want to go to space. Do you?
I do, but sadly, neither I nor you were chosen.
No, I didn't tell you. I did get a call, actually.
Oh, what?
Yeah, they called me and said I wasn't me, so I'm sad. No, they didn't call me. I saw the news just like everyone else, and I was very sad to not see my name and face in the press release. But oh well, I'm not an engineer or some really smart person, so oh well. But so Inspiration 4. We talked a couple weeks ago about you having the smallest and slightest chance of getting on an Inspiration 4 rocket to low Earth orbit for free, and if you applied, then you would have had a chance to go, but unfortunately that chance is gone because they've announced it, and if it wasn't you, then guess what, you're not going. So oh well, it was fun though, wasn't it? Fun while we lasted.
It's all about the suspense of waiting for that call.
Oh totally. Yeah.
Let's see.
So any I'm trying to find their names here.
It's
I saw them.
So the 2 seats that were left open were the Generosity and the Prosperity, and Chris Sembrowski, he's a broski, got the Generosity seat, and Dr. CN Proctor got Prosperity. So
okay, great. Yeah, thanks.
Let's see here. Both of these individuals have high-level education like degrees. So Sembrowski has a BS in professional aeronautics from Embry-Riddle. If anybody is on aviation TikTok or YouTube or anything like that, you'll know all the jokes about Embry. But yeah, you got him, and then Dr. CN Proctor has a PhD in curriculum and instruction science education.
Wow.
So it looks like they, whenever they did sift through everything and started choosing winners, it looks like they went for people who are more like in the field than just your everyday Nic and DJ. So
everyday astronaut.
Hey.
So they didn't really ask you like what your profession was on the sign up thing. So like wonder how much stalking they did.
I don't know. I mean,
like I wonder if I put in my Twitter bio like, you know, some totally fabricated, you know, hey, I'm like really smart even though I'm not. They would have like taken a second look at me.
Probably looked a little closer.
I would hope they. I know I wouldn't have made it all the way through, but you know, they might gotten a call or something because I'm desperate for attention. Anyway, yeah. So Inspiration 4, congratulations to Chris and Cyan and who are the other people here? Come on, let me scroll. Haley and Jared obviously paid for the whole thing, so congratulations, dude. Yeah, Inspiration 4, beautiful. But did you see SpaceX's latest render of what is, besides what's happening with Starship, probably the coolest piece of news from this week?
I heard something about bubbles.
Yeah, you know those little bubbles that you blow, and you kind of get like a nice little half bubble going on the little blow stick.
Yeah.
Is that what they're called? Imagine that, but like instead of the docking adapter on the Dragon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm all for this idea. Basically, SpaceX released a concept image. Well, it looks like a concept image. It sounds like they might be actually pursuing this, hopefully. But it's a render of a Crew Dragon in low Earth orbit with the moon and the Earth in frame. And they have the docking adapter open in the open position. So you have, or what's that called? It's called it has a name, doesn't
cap.
it? What's that thing called? Cap.
Yeah.
The cap is open. And instead of the standard 3 pedals of the international docking adapter, we see a man without a spacesuit on and a camera and this big bubble.
Ironically,
SpaceX
the camera is pointing directly at the cap.
I like to believe he's taking a picture of the sun.
Well,
That's
you know
what
what?
I choose to believe.
Your imagination is more creative than mine. Because I just saw that and I'm like, why?
So, basically they replaced the docking adapter with the bubble. So it's like the cupola, but on steroids, because the cupola on the ISS only looks in one direction, ever, except the very rare times that they turn it around for desaturation of whatever, wheels or whatever. But like most parts, only looking down on the Earth. And it's made up of, I believe, 7 panels and then one main one. So there are 8 panels of glass, and there's really thick, like, separating pieces. So it's not an expansive view. It's the best view that we have currently, agreed. But it's not a completely expansive view that you can just, like, look around and look unobstructed. That's what spacewalks are for, right? Yeah. Spacewalks are where you're in your own bubble, but you can move that bubble around and look wherever you want. And this is the closest thing to a spacewalk ever, and I love this idea. Like, I love this idea, DJ. This is amazing. If
this actually for sure goes, and these 4 get to, like, witness space, not only through the windows that's in Crew Dragon already, which already has some of the best views ever in a capsule. Now, the only thing that
still isn't great. I mean, it's kind of like 2 airplane windows.
Yeah,
so it's like, better
compared
than nothing.
to Apollo in that era.
Yeah. But still,
this is going to be an amazing upgrade for these individuals to enjoy and just take in the awe-inspiring view of the nothingness of space, and then I wouldn't call it a small blue ball because they're still in orbit, Earth orbit. So, but that wonderful view of the Earth from space. So
I am fully in support of this, and I kind of wonder, depending on how the Dear Moon mission swings, I wonder if this is part of the Dear Moon mission, because I was always kind of speculative on the idea of just sending up a regular Crew Dragon, because like part of the allure of space is that expansive view, that overlook effect, and only having some 2 or 3 windows, and the Dragon only has 2 that you can look through, is really just limiting. Like, I kind of felt bad for anyone who would ride on the Crew Dragon and not stop at the ISS, specifically because they wouldn't have the opportunity to look at the cupola and look down, because that view is amazing, and kind of just that 180 view of being able to look kind of wherever you want instead of just like out one little window is really cool. And this 100% fixed that. Every time I was saying, oh yeah, Axiom or whatever, Inspiration 4, I was kind of always like, yeah, it's not quite as exciting because you don't get to visit the ISS. And I think I said that a couple times, but what I really meant there is you couldn't visit the cupola. You know, the ISS is an amazing laboratory, but like the cupola is where it's at. And having the bubble is amazing. I would love to ride on this just to look at the bubble, because wow, man, that's so cool. But it does limit the ability of when you have the bubble installed, you can't go to the ISS. So it's kind of a one or the other, because it takes the place of the international docking adapter. So,
but I mean, hey, if this pushes more space tourism and people start going up in it more, this will be hopefully in a few years a common occurrence that we see people just like taking photos out of this amazing best-in-class window.
Hey guys, I'm here in the bubble on the spaceship, so give me a like and a subscription, and make sure to comment down your thoughts below. Bye. That's gonna happen.
Yep,
and my ears are gonna bleed when that happens.
Oh gosh, honestly, I hope
TikTok
until
star
it's
goes
just
to
like
space.
really, really common, they don't let anybody like that up there. Just don't ruin space for me.
Please don't wreck space.
Oh my god.
Keep the TikTokers on Earth, please.
Oh man.
Sorry to any TikTokers out there, but you guys are crazy.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Well, okay. So Inspiration 4 and Crew Dragon there. Wow. Lots of exciting developments there. Do you have any closing thoughts, DJ?
I'm trying to think. Did we have anything else come up this week?
I that's all we had on our list. But as we mentioned before, we didn't do
We
our
didn't really have a
exhaustive
list.
research study. We kind of just wrote some things down. Let me check. I guess we can check Tim's website and see what's coming up next. I don't think anything exciting.
The Starlink 23, which is in 7 days and 14 hours. That's the next launch I see on here. Reminder: NASA Crew 2 is in 22 days, so April 22nd.
Yeah.
And then we've got a few other items like Soyuz is right after Starlink 23.
Yeah.
ISRO has something going up as well, and Arianespace does as well. But those are all between the 7 to 22 day mark. So, yeah.
We did have Starlink 22 on the 24th, which we didn't get to mention.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think there's anything exciting about that launch.
Nah, that was just a normal one at this point.
Sorry, I really want more Starlinks. I did watch that one, so that was kind of fun. But yeah, there wasn't anything. No special. Oh, it was 9th reflight. Okay.
Oh wait, was that the 9th?
No. Sorry, 9th reflight of a booster in 2021.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay. I was about to say, we got another one. I didn't realize.
5th, 6th flight of a booster. There you go.
Okay.
So yeah, wasn't anything super special, but it landed and did its mission correctly. So great job,
Yep.
Starlink 22 and booster B1060-6. And good job for a successful mission there on Starlink 22. Yeah, as DJ said, we don't have too much else in the works.
I think we're kind of focused on a lot of pancakes today.
Yeah, so sad. Pancake of Starship.
Oh, man.
Sadness.
Yeah, but I think that's it on my end.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining, everybody. You can find me on Twitter at Nic and DJ. Where can they find you?
DJ_Thornton_.
Cool. Don't forget the underscores. All right, guys. It's been great hanging out with you. See you guys next week. Until then, stay safe, fly high, and keep the bottom side pointy end, flamey side.
Pointy end up, flamey end down.
Pointy end down, flamey end up. In the case of every starship ever. All right, guys. Have a good one. Bye.
Oh, man. 57. All right. I am absolutely famished. I did not have lunch today.